Well, how we doing, guys? We're here and ready to roll. Our first one, and we got Mike home from the UK, Paul Stewart from Scotland, and of course the legendary Mr. Preston Pearson, and
Hey guys.
Julie BG from Cowboys Experience. Let me give a shout out to the sponsors real quick for the show, and give a shout out to Toto's Botanicals, De Leon Tequila, and of course the home of our Ultimate Cowboys Experience event at the Toyota Music Factory live on the Texas Lottery Plaza. And so we're kicking around. Let's see, we're going to start off with a guy who's pretty much responsible for me getting into all this stuff 25 years ago, and for helping me and his wonderful wife, Janie Tilford. And we so much love and respect for Preston, and just so many. I just can't thank him enough. All the memories that I have from our friendship and relationship. So what better way to start off the first show? Actually, back in the day, my first when tickets were $5 and $10. The first time I went to see Preston play back at Texas Stadium. So they changed quite a bit, I guess, now today. So.
Probably can't even get a beer for $5 in the stadium now.
Yeah,
crazy.
So just a few quick nuggets. Preston, of course, had a 14-year career, played in 5 Super Bowls, 3 different teams, played with 3 legendary coaches, and we were talking a little bit about, plus legendary quarterbacks, legendary tight ends, running backs. I mean, all of the above. Played just with a whole, just a great number of people and players over the years. He had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. He had 7 rushing touchdowns, 13 receiving touchdowns. So, I mean, his stats are just unbelievable. And then got to be known as Mr. Third Down, was Mr. Automatic on third downs, could do it all. Author of a book called Hearing the Noise, entrepreneur and president of Pro Style Associates. So without any further ado, only a couple minutes doesn't do justification, but let me introduce Mr. Preston Pearson.
Oh, you're a good man. I appreciate that, Barry. I appreciate that very much. Those numbers and things you said there, that's pretty impressive stuff, man.
Wow. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Preston, I guess the one thing that you and I talked a couple of weeks ago at lunch was, and a lot of people I don't think know that. Even I know my friends too, and I thought I never even asked you that. Like, how did you go from? And if the audience doesn't even know that, but you never played a down in college football. You went from playing college basketball as an unbelievable athlete that way. But how did all that transpire? And Don Shula, I mean, I know you wrote letters to the guy at college to play basketball there and things like that, but how did that start the NFL career launch?
Well, let me start this way by saying I think my athletic career in all of the things from an athletic standpoint began at home with my family, and especially with my brother, my older brother. He was a year and 2 days older than me. And, when you got siblings like that, there's always a rivalry. And he was always pushing me, always beating me up. Back in the day, as siblings, we used to hit each other in the arm. Whenever you were fighting or had a problem, you'd hit each other in the arm. Well, I got my arms beat up quite a bit by my brother. So I was always trying to beat him, trying to be better than him. And he was the guy from our neighborhood who always participated against guys who were 5, 6, 7 years older than him. So he began to be one of the best athletes in the neighborhood. So in order for me to keep up with him and all the athletes in our neighborhood, I had to get with it. And I took some beatings. I took a lot of things that really hit me in the face as a kid. But it started very, very young, going into elementary school. I remember my brother and I were the only black kids on our elementary championship basketball team back in the day. I was trying to find a picture of that so I could show you guys. But I was a big-eared, sloppy-eared kid sitting next to my brother, and he was sitting there all cool and collected, and that's the way he was throughout his life. He developed some mental issues as time went on, and as I got older and bigger and stronger, and we separated as individuals and people. I went on to college, and a lot of things happened during that time. But you were asking about my going from athletics, sports in high school. We did it all. As kids, we played hopscotch with the girls. We did the baseball thing with the kids in our neighborhood. We played football, and football was played with a ball of clothes that we found in the trash. Just balled them up, put it together, and wrapped something around it, whether it was rope or other clothing. We had a football. I mean, wasn't the most expensive neighborhood. Yes, we were at least middle class in terms of our parents. Our parents worked all the time. My dad, when he retired, I think he had like 50 years at his job. And guys, I don't believe he missed one day of work.
Wow. Wow.
And with 6 kids. 6 kids. My mom worked at least 3 jobs coming up, and that was ranged from housework to hotel work, and also at a factory that I worked at, a toy factory, and she got me the job there. But they were just hardworking African American people trying to make it with 6 kids. Very difficult. I remember I had to get out, my brother and I, every summer and dig up the backyard where we had a so-called garden. Tomatoes and greens and onions. We had to dig that up by hand. No mules, nothing, no carriages, by hand. Digging. I mean, digging. And that's where I think the hard work ethic that I developed came from my parents. Watching my dad, and I got to tell you this story real quick, and we'll get back to some of your questions. My dad, like I said, I think he worked like 50 years straight and never missed a day of work. And when he retired, the only thing he got was a watch. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
For all of that, yeah.
That's just the way it was back then. I mean, to get a watch, that was big time. It wasn't nothing.
You made it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You sort of kind of made it. But one of the things that he did before he went to work, and he used to get up like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, because he had to drive with some other guys down to Rockford, Illinois, which was about 35 miles away. And they did it every morning, man. I mean, every morning. But one of the things he did, I had a paper route. I was one of these guys, again, trying to help my parents with some of the things we had to have from an economic standpoint. I bought my own desk. I bought my own bicycle, all of the paperwork things, pencils, and all of that stuff. I bought those things from paper routes and shoveling snow. I used to get up in the mornings before school to go out through the neighborhood when it snowed in Freeport, Illinois. That was a way for me to make money. So I would get up with my dad, go out through the neighborhood, knocking on doors. Would you like to have your sidewalk shoveled? Because, in Illinois, when it snows, it's going to get.
Yeah.
So if I caught them early enough before school, I could make a little money. So I could buy my bicycle, so I could, travel throughout the neighborhood when I wanted to travel. So again, we're talking about some of those traits that went into becoming an NFL athlete or a college-bound athlete. It comes from that time, that leadership from my dad, from my mom, hard work. And I'll tell anybody today, I don't care what you are gifted with as an athlete, you must put in the work. And most times the work begins when you're young, watching somebody, watching other athletes or your parents or your cousins or athletes that are already in school. You watch them, you take mental notes, and you go to work. And eventually, when you get into wherever it is you want to get as a college player, or certainly in the NFL or on any pro level, those work ethic items that you gained back in the day when you were a kid or when you were growing up, those are the things that are going to carry you to the top to become a Super Bowl winner or an NBA champion or on the golf course, a Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
You know, guys like that. That's where it all begins. And when it came time for me to possibly get into college, there were other opportunities. I was a pretty good athlete. I was a two-time All-State basketball player on the All-State list as a junior and a senior. And I went from being a guard in basketball to a center.
Okay.
Senior year.
Yeah.
Now, how do you do that? At 6'2", I was a center in high school. At 6'2", you know.
Wow.
Even back then.
I was going to ask how tall you were then.
Yeah.
When centers were 6'7", 6'8", 6'9",
yeah.
that still was big, man. You know, a 6'2" guy going up against centers who were that tall. But I held my own. I mean, I was pretty mean. Had to be. You can't take on a 6'9" guy and be a softie in the center position.
Yeah, I was just about to say there, because you were I think you were the person that blocked the skyhook from Kareem Kareem.
Yes, sir.
So how is that possible?
Kareem he's still one of my heroes, and you know that goes all the way back when he and Jim Brown and some of the other guys were supporting Muhammad Ali. They weren't that much older than me, but they were some of the heroes for me as I was growing up. It was the University of Illinois, we were the first college team, I believe, that suffered what was it called, the death penalty. You know, a lot of people think it was SMU because the Eric Dickerson and all of that group, when they got scholarships and were put on separation from college football. No, it was me and my group of guys at the University of Illinois who suffered from that. And when we suffered from that, they took 3 or 4 of our best players. All three of them went on to play in the NBA. They took those guys away from us. Now, they were doing things wrong, okay? The school, the coaches, and the sponsors were giving them money under the table. Okay, now, I got to say this, too. When I found out that they were getting money under the table, I'm going, well, hell, why didn't I get some of that money?
I was going to say,
we're suffering the same damn way they were, you know, going to practice. And after practice, if you didn't get back to your dorm where it was, the dinner line closed. So you had no food. So what are you going to do to go out and get something to eat? You have to have money or you're going to get in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Didn't have any money. So those guys were getting money, and I'm going like, hell, I'm starving just like they are. But you know what? In the end, I'm so happy that I didn't take any money or didn't receive any money.
Yeah. Worked out pretty good for you.
College. So that's where I began. That particular year, when they put us on the death penalty, it was like 2 weeks later after we were already ranked number 3 in the country. Guess who was leading the country at that time at the number 1 position? It was Lou Alcindor and that great basketball team that they had out there at UCLA with Warren and Shackelford and all of those guys. You know, Kareem was just awesome. the college ranks tried to cut out his best thing in college. It didn't work. They tried to cut him out from dunking. They said, no more dunking. We're not going to allow any more dunking in college basketball. Well, that was to combat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, guess what? He developed the sky hook. You can't cut that out. So Kareem went on to become one of the greatest, and one of the things that I feel got me drafted into the NFL was we were playing in Chicago, and this was after those three big guys, or pro basketball bound players on our team, were cut from the roster. We had a guy named Dave Scholes, who was only a freshman at that time. He was about 6'7", 6'8". Went on to become one of the top leading scorers in the University of Illinois history. So he was a good player, but he was a freshman, and he was going to have to play Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and we were trying to play him from behind. Wasn't going to work. Kareem sat down in that game at halftime with about 27 points. They sat him down. They were so far ahead of us. But in that game, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was now starting to develop the sky hook. In that game, when he turned, I think he was on the left block at that time. If you're facing the hoop itself, Kareem was on the left block at that time. So he was turning in towards the free throw line. I was coming down from the guard position. I don't think he saw me because he started to rise with that sky hook, and I got him. I blocked that thing from behind. Now, Kareem was already 7'2", and with his arm reach, he had to be at least 10'10" or something like that. So that tells you right there, I had to have some kind of athleticism, power, explosion, and strength to block that sky hook. And I'll say to this day, Howie Braun, who was the assistant coach of the University of Illinois at that time, there were scouts from the NFL at that game. I don't know why they were there, but Howie Braun is the one, I believe, who had them come to that game to watch me. And I think I solidified my position as an athlete anyway in that game, blocking that sky hook from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Wow. That's incredible, dude. Like, it's so, like, because we're seeing a lot more athletes now, like, in recent times, especially within the Cowboys. We had a tight end that played college basketball, then played tight end. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Mike, do you recall his name?
Is that
He was with the Cowboys?
Yes.
Now?
Rico Gabbers. That's who it was.
Rico Gathers. Yeah.
That's the guy.
Antonio Gates was a real. He's probably really
example.
the star that really.
Well, the Cowboys had several athletes that played basketball. Cornell Green, great cornerback for the Cowboys, played at Utah State, I believe. Pete Gent, you got to remember that name. Pete Gent played at University of Michigan State. Pardon me, Michigan folks. Michigan State.
Don't get that bit wrong.
And believe it or not, who's the coach or the general manager down at Miami right now?
He used to be with the Cowboys.
Played at Kentucky. No, he was a basketball player at Kentucky. By the way, we beat that great team from Kentucky that year too.
Chris Greer?
I'll think of it here in a second. Forgive me, folks out there.
When did that
memory bank?
When did you get the call, Preston, from that? You like, okay, it looks like I'm going to the NFL. How did that happen?
Yeah, that was at the University of Illinois, and they had called over to my fraternity house and left a message that a scout, L.G. Dupree, and L.G. Dupree at that time was representing the Baltimore Colts. And believe it or not, guys, I was a Baltimore Colt fan even living in Illinois. Of course, we had the Bears, and you had Green Bay next door in Wisconsin. So everybody thought I should be a Bear or Packer fan. I was really a Baltimore Colt fan at that time. So when I got the call, I was like flabbergasted. Me? They want to talk to me? I had no idea about playing pro football, had no thoughts about even trying pro football, had no thoughts about even thinking about pro football. In fact, it scared the hell out of me in the beginning that somebody would be thinking about me playing pro football and me actually going to play pro football. But as you know, as time goes on, sometimes you have to change your mind about opportunities that come about. So they called me over to the field house over there at the University of Illinois, and I sat down with LG Dupree, and he says, well, the Baltimore Colts have drafted you in the 12th round. I think they had like 17 rounds back there. Yeah, they don't have 12 rounds today.
Yeah.
But 12 rounds for me, coming out of Freeport, Illinois, basketball player, whose brother was much better than I was at football. My brother was an All-American, by the way, in football. And I tagged along in some of his college visits. That's the only way I got to go to visit colleges. From a football standpoint, was with my brother. So it was kind of a not weird, but I was in a position where I had to make some decisions. Now, I wasn't going to graduate on time. I think I was lacking 6 hours, of which I went back 3 years later, got my degree. I have a degree, yes. I have my degree, and there was no way they were going to keep me from that, because like myself and 100 other guys back then anyway, who declared when they went to college and certainly went into anything pro, they would always say, I promise you, Mom, it was always Mom, I promise you, Mom, I'm going to go back and get my degree. And I did. I went back, got my degree, and I have that a plaque on the wall right now with that. So it was a kind of a dream scenario for me to even be sitting there considering, do I want to try to be a pro football player? Just think about that. You're sitting there watching Dick Butkus and all of the great players during that time, and you're saying to yourself, do I really want to try to go out there and either be hit by those guys or hit some of those guys?
Just putting on a uniform instead of gym pants. It's a whole darn uniform.
I mean, it's kind of surreal. I mean, I know you hear that word a lot, surreal, but just put yourself in that position. Not even thinking about playing football at all, and you get a call from pro football.
Yeah.
Don Shula was going to be on the line, on the telephone with me. Just think about that for a second. Don Shula was going to be on the phone talking to me about, well, do you think you might be able to come down and join us for training camp? My heart's going, 56,000 miles an hour.
Wow.
I'm not even sure what I said in reply. But I did find myself going to Baltimore.
I just find that absolutely remarkable.
As they say, it's history.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I just find that absolutely remarkable. Like, see, when you got the call, like, did you ever thought to yourself, what position do you want me to play? If that was me, I'd be like, okay, you seem as an athlete, but where do you want me to play? Like, that's the ultimate conundrum there,
Yeah, that's the scary part about it, because you're not even sure yourself. Where am I? Am I going to play defense? If it's offense, what position are you talking about? Now, I have to say this though. I had played both offense and defense in high school. Watched some of the practices at the University of Illinois. Watched some great players, by the way, down there, including the great Dick Butkus. and,
Wow.
which scared the hell out of me, just watching him practice. Because those guys were big. I mean, they were big then, and they're still big. So that's the first thing that you have to consider when you're talking about going into pro football and have no experience. How big are you? Can you take the kind of pounding that it's going to require? And to my surprise, I lasted for 14 years.
Yeah.
Pro football with 5 different
Super Bowl.
NFL Super Bowl games.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard for me to even get it out.
Yeah.
Say it like that.
Well, like you said, with 3 legendary coaches on the sidelines, and
3 legendary coaches: Don Shula, Chuck Noll, and the great.
And then it's even crazier if you just mention the 3 quarterbacks you went with as well. That's an even crazier list.
Wow, Johnny Unitas, Terry Bradshaw, and the great Roger Staubach.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw is probably the one that was most like a kid.
Very charismatic, isn't he?
Terry is, when he first came out, so young. I think he was like 20 going on 21. He was involved with a forgotten her title, very cute little thing. One of those, what do you call them? The sweetheart contest winners.
Oh, yeah.
From there, and so he was very much involved in the relationship thing. And I remember sometimes in the huddles, he forgot what plays to call, but he was so young and so much pressure was put on him, because he had that over the top kind of throw, like you're throwing a javelin.
Yeah.
That's what he did in track and field. He threw the javelin, so his arm angle was coming over the top, and he could sling it. But I'll tell you this too: as great as Terry Bradshaw was in the long term over his career, there was a better quarterback that was there in Pittsburgh when he first started. Actually, there was 3 of them there: Terry Hanratty and the great Joe Gilliam. A lot of people don't remember that guy, but Joe Gilliam, as skinny as he was about that big. Skinny as he was, he could throw that football, and he was smart. And then Joey's career just went to hell because he got involved in a drug situation. He was taking drugs, and then he got involved with a young lady that was also taking drugs. And when you get involved that way, it's just so difficult to get away from it because you got your person right next to you, and if they're involved, it's hard for you to get away.
So here's a question then, if you don't mind me asking, Preston. How do you feel when you hear of like NFL players today, and then you hear them squandering the opportunity because of something like that, or an off-field issue where they're in the law? How does that make you feel? Does it break your heart when you see that? Yeah. Yes,
it does break your heart, and you say to yourself, I wish I could have talked to him. I wish I could have said something. The one that comes to my mind, and forgive me because I can't think of his first name, but the kid that was in Pittsburgh and then with New England, the wide receiver,
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Wasted talent. Wasted, gifted talent. That's all you can say about that one. Because he really, whatever happened to him, he did himself. Yeah. So it's wasted.
A mental
state. What term you can put on that?
I think it's a mental thing for sure. Because I let Barry take back over before.
No problem.
It was just a question, but do you think then, based on what you're seeing on that situation, do you think the NFL should be doing more to help these players, in a sort of a mental aspect, psychological aspect?
Yes, they could, but you know what?
It's like
there are so many things that players can do for themselves.
True.
First of all, family.
Yeah.
There's got to be people in the families, including Brown's family, that should have stepped up. grab him by the collar, do whatever you need to do to say, listen, you've got so much talent here. Think about not just yourself.
Yeah.
But I know you got a girlfriend, you may have kids, you may have your family already. But think about this. 10 years from now, where are you going to be?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen? What are you here for? You know, you've only got so many years in pro football.
That's
the average is what, 4 years now?
Mm-hmm.
4 years. That goes by just like that.
You know, I liked also, Preston, over the years how you used to talk to some of the young players and tell them, like, you know, get involved with the community, make the contacts, you know, be good to people, get involved. And because now you look at you guys, and so many players, former Cowboy players, still live in Dallas, still doing business with, you know, all over the Metroplex with companies and things, and mainly because of their career, mainly because they were approachable and they stayed in front of people and things like that. And I'd never forget that you guys used to do that and talk to the younger players for a bunch of years to do that. And now I think it's even more challenging because there's so much money involved now. It gets it even more challenging. You know, they think, oh, nah, I got it all now. I don't do that. And
it goes by too quickly for them to think that way.
Yeah.
But I believe the minimum for an average player on the starting roster is like $250,000. You know, back in our day, only the superstars got that kind of money. You know, I believe Joe Namath, some of the other guys, maybe Roger, I don't know. But $250,000 today is kind of a minimum where you start. Wow. And let me say this too. You know, Dak Prescott, maybe CeeDee Lamb, some of the other high volume guys in terms of their base salaries, they can be out there, and you see them out there. You see Dak doing a lot of different things in the community. He's also working for himself, and that's so smart because, again, 10 years from now, where are you going to be?
Going to be your own brand.
This too. All it takes is one hit, and you can be dead when it comes to pro football.
Maybe we can continue this in a second because we got a current guy waiting to come on now that maybe you can tell him some of this stuff. And
Yep. So without further ado, we're late to bring on the defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys, Mr. Sam Williams.
So Preston, I don't know if you were, but Sam, how are you? So that's our let's introduce this guy, and you know, he came out a lot of our events last year, worked a lot of events, and became very special to us. And so the second round draft pick of the Cowboys out of Ole Miss. We'll give your Ole Miss a shout out there, Sam. Sam Williams.
Wait, can y'all see me?
Yeah.
All good, perfect. Yep,
looking beautiful.
Sam. Hey! I saw you play last year. I saw what you did out there on the football field, and let me say this to you: you got a hell of an opportunity. You got a hell of an opportunity this year to put your stamp on who you want to be 10 years from now. You got a chance, boy. I wish I had it.
I've only got one question right now. Between Preston Pearson and Sam Williams, who wins in a 40-yard dash?
Oh, I do.
I don't know about that one. I don't know. I'm moving now. I don't think the legs can keep up.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's what we hear about from the coaches, that it just seems like your hard work and motivation, your ethic and everything's paying off, and they're seeing a difference already. And so I guess, but one thing I want to start off with, Sam, is because your camps and everything, and, you know, you and I talked a couple of weeks ago about your story is almost just like The Blind Side. It almost just replicates that Blind Side movie. Mm-hmm. So with your camps and everything, and you made some comments too, that more than just a football camp, how do you look at your football camps now, what you want to do? I know you have such a great heart, especially for your own little one there. And you have such a great heart for kids. And where do you want to grow with somebody? Can you how did that kind of the Blind Side story growing up relate and transition into where you're at now, and some of the challenges along the way, and who kept you in line, who kept you motivated and fired up? and go from there.
Well, I want to say from the camp aspect, like playing football so many years, you learn that like most people put football over everything else. Like coaches sometimes, family members sometimes, parents. It's just like every time they see you, it's like instead of how you doing, how's your day, is like I saw what you did on the football field. I need to come watch a game or something like that. So, what my whole objective was behind that camp was like to give the kids like based on play day. It was a football
Whoop.
to be kids the whole time, like just kids mess up, like there's no teaching involved, just mess up, play football. It was kids that never touched the field in their life, but they had so much fun because they was just being a kid. We was out there running, getting dirty on the grass. The camp was I think 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was mildew. I mean not mildew, dew. It was dew on the field, so we was all wet, grass everywhere. It was just fun. It was just a whole day of basically just being a kid.
Now, how do you relate to some, can you get into a little bit about your story kind of growing up? Because like I said, we talked about it, and it almost just mirrors the movie The Blind Side, and some of that, kind of who kind of took you in and kind of kept you out of trouble. That that we talked some of that, when we talked.
I would say my mom, not my biological mother. Her name is Tiffany Kane. She's the one that really took me in and got me to play football, and really is the person I say has the most credit besides God of why I'm here, because she like kept me in the straight and narrow. She just showed me like what's possible, basically. Like she I don't know. It's like she knows me so well. Like I mean, so good that like she can use reverse psychology to get me to do some of the most crazy things that I never thought of that happened. And she'll use that.
Well, then, Sam?
You said what?
Wait, was she an athlete as well then in high school or
Oh
college?
no.
Okay.
Even the kid, I mean, her son was, but he played basketball. She just told me like when I first moved to Lee, I never heard like what a 4 or 5 star is. She broke it down to me. She broke it down like what I have an opportunity to do, and we set a goal, me and her, and like I'm talking about from high school. She made me a deal. Like I was like, all I need is your support, and I can do it. So once we made that deal, she came to every practice. It was like The Blind Side for real.
Yeah.
She came to every practice. She came to every practice. Watch. She traveled. She even got some of her friends from the school. Like they'll load up in her car, travel to every away game, come to every
cheer
home.
on.
Wow.
From JUCO too. Well, in JUCO, she couldn't do every game. She had to break it up because I was in Mississippi. She was in Bama, and she has responsibilities, of course, but. I want to say out of 12 games, she was there like 10 or 8 times.
Wow.
And she'll drive.
That's an effort. Yeah.
She drove to the games?
She drove like from Alabama to all parts of Mississippi. She drove.
Good.
Right. So for me and Mike's perspective, so how long would that take from Miss to Alabama? Like, what's the distance from on the roads?
From Boonville, Mississippi to Montgomery is 4 hours and like 40-some minutes. Wow. But think about it, not to think about. We play on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So
she's got to go to work the next day.
Yeah, she'll get off work or sometimes miss work to make it to my games, and she'll drive back or do something like that the next. Like she'll go back home the next day. Like she'll drive. I've witnessed her just drive, and then I see her 2 minutes after the game, and she got to go back and hit the road. And I'm on a plane or I'm on a bus. It's crazy.
I'd actually be like great to have as like a tour guide around the area. Like this is a great place to go for food.
And not just that, you need to think about traffic. You need to think about any delays and stuff like that as well. So all that on top of the actual travel itself, that is just remarkable, unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go on, Baz. Over to you, mate.
All right, Preston. What do you? I know we talked about. Well, you said about the opportunity as too. I know you used to talk to some of the younger players too when you're towards the end of your career as far as getting involved in the community. I know Sam is awesome to work with. We're really blessed to have him come out and do a lot with us. We have all kind of plans for him, and so he sees that, I think, and gets it, involved with the community and his camps and things like that. So
Okay. Well, I wanted to. Can I ask Sam a quick question?
sure.
I know you're involved now, anyway, in the community and doing some things there. I was just wondering, 10 years from now, where do you see yourself? Don't tell me it's pro football, because that might be pushing that time frame. But
if I want to be honest, okay, right now I have another son due September 10th.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, congrats. Just found that out the other day. Yeah.
So that's two then. Okay.
By 10 years from now, I want to have 3 more boys.
Ooh.
I want 5. I want I own a lot of real estate. I'll just be on my own boss, basically. Like, I'll be young enough to still keep up with my sons and give them what my mom gave to me, like the support system. Because like right now, football. Of course, you have family time, but like, I want to be there when my son has practice. His dad in the stands. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Follow his dream.
Yeah.
that's why I'm trying to work hard now. Get this bag,
Yeah.
and then about 10 years from now, I'm just being a dad. You know.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, what you're doing in football, you're out there to provide for your family, to provide them the next up and coming opportunities, and just continue that going forward into the future. No, that's awesome.
And I feel like the more I focus, the quicker that goal is to accomplish before the 10 years.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, 10 years from now, you'll be what? 34 years old.
I just turned.
Life is just beginning. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for that time frame, start preparing for that time frame right now, which you are. If you're talking about real estate, you're in the right place. There are some guys. One guy already on your team, I believe, has got a real estate company. I don't know if it's in name only, but
You talking about the I'm not gonna say his name, but he just opened up a hotel.
oh no, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it was I got one teammate. I'll be talking to him about it.
Good.
Good. I got to keep playing to make some more money, so I can.
But you don't have to make money to talk.
Yeah, right.
Get with them, talk with them. Hey, listen, do not be afraid to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy that I played with that's got a huge real estate company who would love to have Sam Williams come over and talk to him about real estate. I'm talking about Roger Staubach.
Ooh.
He would.
That was great. The reaction.
I was not expecting that.
Well, he's done well in real estate, but Roger is just that kind of guy. If you've got some questions, certainly about real estate, and you know what he did with his company when he sold it, and he's still, I believe, the CEO of his company. But Roger is a Dallas Cowboy fan and would love to have a young person like you talking to him about anything, let alone real estate. He would love that. He'd fall head over heels. And I guarantee you this too. If you were to call him and they would take your name, Sam Williams wants to talk to you, I'll bet you any amount of money within 24 hours, Roger would get back to you and say, when? Where?
See that? You come here to talk Cowboys, and then you end up networking as well.
Yeah, look at that. How about
Free
that?
game. It's free game.
There you go. That's what it's all about. That's a huge part of who you can become. Network with all of the people that surround you. Dallas-Fort Worth has a great networking community.
Yeah.
You being Sam Williams Dallas Cowboy, you have a little bit of a niche to get in there a little faster than most. Use it. Use it.
And if you want to try and open a hotel up in the UK, just ask Aidan Durdy. He'll help you out.
Yeah.
And then we can come and visit you more often, mate.
See, I'm so glad you just asked about Aidan Durdy, because that was the question I was going to ask. Because for me, back in the day, I actually played against Aidan Durdy when he was the coach for the London Warriors, way before the NFL. So my question is for you, Sam, what is Sturdy like with his coaching? What's the right word? Influence. Like, how does he come off? Like, is he a very like hands-on type of guy, all that type of stuff? So, like, yeah, because we've got, obviously, me and Mike, we have a lot of love for Aidan, and especially within the whole NFL UK, who praise him highly. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on him.
I feel like I don't wanna like put him on like higher than he's.
Yeah. Be honest. Be honest.
You don't want to put him on that pedestal.
I just
Tell
feel
me
like
how it is.
I just feel like he's so good and like he's so calm. Like when it comes to teaching, like he don't rush. Like say right now, like we have time right now. I want to say my biggest mistake that I've made in my rookie. My coach always said, like, enjoy the process. You have to learn from the steps. But one thing I give Coach praise for is how he teaches. Like he teaches so differently because we're all so different. And it's not like he's like, Sam, do this like him or do this. No, it's like he basically studies us because he got a whole like. My every move, I need to watch this. I need to do this. I need to do this, and it's like, I don't know. It's so well. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it's great.
So in a way, like he personally caters to every single player to how they perceive things to get the best ability out of them. In a way, is that what you're trying to say?
Basically, yeah. Like he's not gonna sit us in a classroom and be like.
Sounds about right.
Do this, and then he's gonna teach us like how to do it our way because he's not gonna teach me how he teaches D-Law. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and then and we're all such grown men, but everybody in that room has so much respect. When coach is talking, you can tell like how much everybody respects him at that level. He don't have to like ever do too much for us to understand, and he always teaches how important the next day is or the day of is, you know what I mean? So
I'm gonna put you on the spot. I love it. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
You call that a coach.
Mm-hmm. yeah. And I'm gonna put you on the spot now, Sam. Can you do an Aidan Durdy accent?
All right, look, I got it. Hold on. It's certain words.
Can give you a minute.
It's certain words.
Yeah.
It's certain words that Lee, you did put me on the spot. I can't think of nothing on my head, but certain words.
I knew I was gonna put you on the spot, man.
It's certain words that the whole D line get on because he says so often, but I can't think of it right now.
I knew I was gonna put you on the spot, mate. So don't worry.
I will say though, Sam, if you really want to get under Aidan's skin, just for a laugh, just say the East Coast Pirates are the best team in the UK. Yeah.
Let me write it down.
He will know
exactly what I'm talking about.
East Coast Pirates?
The East Kilbride. I'll put it in the chat for you.
Okay.
But I
gotta ask you this before you guys get out of here. Can I ask Sam a question real quick?
Yeah, sure.
The number one draft choice that you guys got looks like a big guy, especially around the thighs. He's big at what, 340, 350, something like that. You think he's gonna help you guys?
Yeah, that way he a tank. Yeah, I seen that boy in live action. He a tank now, even through walkthroughs. I can tell he's gonna be a problem.
All right.
He's so
put it this way. The story I love is that in Michigan, the strength and conditioning team had to buy new gym equipment because Mazzy broke it because he was so strong.
Dang.
They had to buy bigger stuff because it was too much. It was not enough for him.
He's solid. Like, I mean, yeah, that boy be eating his cornbread.
Would you peep in an arm wrestle though, Sam?
Yeah. Nah, I don't know.
Have you had a chance to meet all of the rooks?
Most of them, especially the ones in the D line room.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we all cool. We all welcome everybody in. I wouldn't say not really as much as the offensive people because we split up. I mean, we have special teams together, but we still split up in groups of positions. So, yeah, I mean, of course, we're going to, like, basically have more events to bond and stuff. So that's not a big deal. But the defensive guys, I met most of them.
Nice.
Say, what has stood out this year going from your rookie season to coming now? You got 1 year under your belt. What has stood out the most? What kind of attitude or just what do you think as far as the big difference this year moving forward is?
Really just like I said before, my coach always told me, like, enjoy the process. Like, right now, I'm slowing down of trying to get where I'm going and trying to learn how to get there correctly. You know what I mean? So, like, right now, around this time last year, I'll be in Dallas doing I'll be training, but like I'm in Miami right now training at HOA with someone that's training for me. Like, I'm not in a bunch of like groups where we just doing these drills and they just take our money and that's be it. No, we're sitting down, watching film, learning. We're starting from the eyes to the hands to the feet. Like, it's a whole new level. And I'm doing more boxing for hand-eye coordination. It's a lot that I'm doing, like, that I didn't think of to do before. And I feel like it's working because during OTA, some of the stuff that I didn't used to do, I saw it on film. Like, it was night and day from last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just trying to become a pro, basically. And, like,
Mike, could you read out that one? There was a guy coming. In fact, I just talked to him the other day. He was I knew him way back in Pennsylvania. We've been friends for a long time, but he has a similar story also as you, Sam, and he, I think, wanted to give you a shout out too as a similar childhood that way. I don't know if you can see that in the screen there.
Yeah, I see it. Jason Baker. Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Baker.
And also, just to mention as well, we've also got fans watching all across the world. We've got our friends from Germany from watching, and we've got our friends from Italy from watching as well. So
that's so cool.
Because if there's one thing it's one thing we see in the UK quite a lot. It's not just America's team; it's the world's team quite a lot. So, and that kind of shows the evidence there, like, fans over the world are just so invested into the Dallas Cowboys, and they're very invested in yourself, Sam, and so interested hearing Preston's story and stuff like that. So it's just one massive collection coming together now.
Yeah.
Yeah, these two guys are coming over, Sam, at a Thanksgiving game, so they're gonna make sure they have some turkey legs for you. So
let's do it.
You might be having arguments because the week before, Ole Miss play Texas A&M, and if Texas A&M lose, I might be blocking Sam on Twitter.
Dang! Wow. I remember y'all was what y'all know. Y'all just beat Bama before y'all came.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Aggies have got you in VHS this year, so that's a hard stadium to go and win in.
Sam, if you're looking for extra revenue, I'll give you $100 if you want to slap Mike for that comment.
Yeah, slap with a turkey leg. We've got to make it Thanksgiving.
There we go. There we go.
But here's a question though: and I'll ask both of you this, Sam and Preston. I'll let you go first, Sam. Though, what is your who would you call your hero? What's your number one highlight? And what's your favorite hobby outside of football? That's for both of you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hero. I don't think hero is someone that you look up to, right?
Anything, yeah. That got you to where you were. You probably mentioned already your hero.
Yeah, I'll say the closest thing to a hero is probably my mom.
Yeah.
I mean, because I never looked up to another man. Like, I just never did because like not shaming anybody that did for me, but everybody that was in my life, I feel like that wasn't the life for me. That's not what I wanted to be. So I didn't look up to anybody. I had to really find my own path. And doing on my own path, literally, when I say my own path, it was just me and my mom. Like, of course, you know, once the path got shinier or looked like a golden road, more people tried to jump on that bandwagon. But really and truly, like, I can honestly say it was just me and my mom on this lonely path trying to find my own direction. So I feel like she's my hero because she wore the cape in most situations where I needed one.
Your number one highlight?
Number one highlight? That was having my son.
Yeah.
Like, that was the craziest. No, it's not. I mean, yes, I'm so happy that I had him, but it was the process of seeing it. Like, that was.
And I think it's strange as well, you know, because for the, and we're going to go into a parent thing here, so I do apologize. It's not the parental podcast, but it's funny that, like, for the woman, she's growing the baby. So for the man, for the dad, the first time when you see that child, and it's weird because you instantly click, and that's it, and you're just like, I will die for this kid, and I've only just met him.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was. Like it was my last season of football. I was like, it's time to lock in. Like, it's a lot. It's easy to say, oh, I want to do this and that, but man, if you don't have no dedication, no drive behind it, like, I don't, like, it's hard to be accomplished. But man, as soon as I saw his face, as soon as I saw the features in his face, and it looked just like me, I was like, man, do I really want this kid to go through what I've been through, or can I change it? And I promise, as soon as he was born, like, if you ask any of my coaches, like, the way I talk, the way I carry myself, the way I practice, the way I watch film, the way Sam overall, it changed just like that. Because
it does change.
I like, when I tell you, I have, like I said, I had my own, like, me and my mom was on our own path. So my mom was my main drive. Like, she was the one pushing me, keep going. But it's like, when I had my son, it was like my mom, and he gave me like a nitrous boost, like boom. So it's like nothing else matter. It's just to get this kid, like, make sure this kid has to go through nothing. Like, as a dad, as a provider, that's what I feel like it's the most important, you know?
Yeah. I think getting to talk to you and getting to know you more, Sam, I know, I mean, you get the right mindset to be a great dad. I know you're getting there already. You're there. And I know Preston was a great dad and still is. And just family means the world to him too, as well. So real special for you two guys as well with that. So.
Well, I can certainly identify with what Sam is saying about your first child. I was the same way, Sam, believe me. But I'll say this too. When you win a Super Bowl.
And you will.
And I think you will too. You guys are gonna have a good opportunity this year because
this year.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ooh,
and I'll say this. That feeling right after the game's over when you've won, I say it like that because when you win, it's a different feeling than when you lose in a Super Bowl. And I lost 3 of them. But that win is almost equal to your first child's birth. That same aura that fills you up with, I'm a man, that's mine. Wow. Huge accomplishment. You'll feel the same way when you win that Super Bowl. Sure. I hope to be there when you do it this year.
Yeah. I know it's.
Yeah.
Me too.
You will. You guys, you've got a nice roster. I mean, from top to bottom.
Yeah.
You know, just looking at it, I looked at it the other day, offensively and certainly defensively, and I'm predicting this right away that you're going to be right up there with the sacks because of some of the things you just said. You're learning stuff. You've already learned stuff, and you're starting to apply that. That's putting in the work, baby.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
You gotta do that.
I
You gotta
wrote-
do that.
I wrote an article on Sam Williams, calling him the breakout player of this year. So
There
don't
you
let me
go.
down, mate.
Yeah.
Please don't let me down.
Nah,
You'll be all right.
It's like the same effect again. Like now I got another son, so it gotta go 2 times
You
harder.
gotta go.
Yeah.
I love it. But I love it though. I love pressure because man, I love it. I love feeling that okay, somebody's like depending on it. You
Yeah,
feel me?
yeah, yeah,
So, so I gotta get it. There's no other choice. Like this year, I'm telling you, like just watch.
Yeah.
I hope I be healthy. Like praying I'll be healthy the whole season. Other than that, just I'm telling you, it's coming.
We're ready. You know, we got a couple things surprising for you.
Right, so-
We're working on.
So I have some very similar to questions tonight, but it's very based on your teammates, right?
Yeah.
So 1, who's the most funniest? 2, who is the worst dressed? And 3, actually, no, I'll just keep it 2. I'll just keep it those 2. So most funniest and the worst dressed.
Careful now, Sam.
I feel like I'm the funniest. I feel like I'm the funniest because I make everybody laugh. I just feel like I am the worst dressed. Dang, I don't know. Let me see. Worst dressed. Who wears? I don't know. Worst dressed. Everybody really be clean though, because they got money. Everybody got money, so it's like. I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having to share a locker room with a smelly.
I locker room. Wait, do it be stinking? After the game.
Yeah, I can imagine after.
I'd be like, whoa. Time to go.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of lightheartedness banter there, so not to put you in any pressure. There's
So, all right, I got a good one though, right? Who is, and just in last year in the NFL, who's been the best offensive lineman you've had to face? Could be in Dallas or in the NFL teams you've played.
I feel like Tyron Smith is.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be
Like
that.
I had my days against him.
Yeah.
Man, he always have his days against me. But that's why if I start beating him consistently, I'm like, okay, I know I got this.
Yeah,
But I told him, I said the whole camp, I want you the whole camp. So yeah, I feel like Tyron.
Steel, sharp and steel, man.
Yeah.
Bro, he's so strong. He's so strong. I call him Megatron, bro. He's so strong. And like I've never seen an old lineman bald head, big with freaking 6-pack. Like, he's like, I don't know if you watched it. Friday, Debo on Friday. That's who he is.
Yeah.
Right, so I've got a question for both of you then. Right, so you just kind of mentioned their best player going up against, like you mentioned, Tyron. So I'm going to kind of slightly flip it then in that way. So what player would you have loved to play in any era in the NFL? So this is both for you, Sam, and both for yourself, Preston. So it could be from now, it could be in the past, it could be now. Like
you said, play with or play against?
Play against. Sorry,
against. Ooh,
yeah, play against.
The one we want to play against, right? Is that the question?
Yeah, the player you would love to have played against. There could be a player you love right now, or a player that you never had the opportunity to play against in the past.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. I'll say I would like to play against Michael Vick.
Oh, that's a great one.
I feel like I want
for
to
the speed and agility.
Yeah,
because not too many people stack Michael Vick.
Yeah. That's what I mean. He's so fast and rapid.
Fast.
Yeah.
Like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the only person I use on Madden.
I was literally just about to say that Michael Vick was 99 overall. He was the star of EA Sports for a long time. What about yourself, Fred?
I'm trying to go over in my mind. Again, the question was, who would I like to play against?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure if I'd like to play against these guys. They were very, very good. Ray Nitschke and Dick Butkus.
Yeah. It's a good shout.
But again, I'm not so sure if I want to play against them. These guys were hard knuckle guys, man. Difficult guys to beat.
Talking about Ray Lewis?
Ray Lewis is another
would be a good one.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I used to watch his videos for the game in college.
Yeah, inspirational.
It had me want to go run through the coach.
But it's like you don't even need to watch Ray Lewis's games. You just need to hear him talk.
Even his pregame is firing up everybody. Gosh, that's scary. That's scary enough.
It's funny enough because I actually had a great opportunity to speak with Ray Lewis last month there, and he's just such an incredible person. It's great to talk to, very inspirational what you guys are saying, and man, what a hell of a football career he's had. Like one of the hardest hitting football players I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be a Cowboys fan,
to love it.
The guy was he was special, absolutely special.
You gotta give him his credit. You got to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever heard his speech on seagulls and hawks?
No.
And he's just like, do you know why a seagull never looks up? Why a hawk
never looks down.
Yeah. And he's like, because it's always looking around because it's surrounded by other hawks. So are you with hawks or are you with seagulls? And he's just like, ooh, yeah.
Intimidation.
Well, I want to throw out a couple of names here that go way back. Mel Blount from Pittsburgh, cornerback that was the utmost typical big-time corner the game's ever seen. He was big, 6'3", 6'4", about 215 pounds, and could run with anybody, any receiver in the game, and could tackle, and was a great leader for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was there prior to my leaving. I saw him come in. There were a lot of good players in Pittsburgh, including Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, Jack Ham, some of those names. But I picked him out because he was just so outstanding at that position. Filled out every tab you can think of when it comes to size, speed, leadership, game player, always there when you needed him and never took a down off. So he would be one of those guys that I would mention. Jack Ham was up there too, great linebacker, but I wouldn't put him in that same kind of category. I mentioned Ray Nitschke and Dick Butkus earlier.
Yep.
I'm going to go way back with Big Jim Parker. You probably don't know these guys, but he was an offensive guard, one of the biggest that came into the game at that time. And I say biggest at that time because he only weighed about 285 pounds. Today, offensive linemen average, 320, 310, something like that. That's another thing that shows you how the game has progressed. And I'm here to tell all of you guys, the game has changed tremendously in almost every area since I played. Now, my last year was 1980, going back to my third time.
I wasn't even thought of.
Yes, that was my last game. My first game, Sam, was 1967.
Wow.
And you're crazy 21 years old. So.
You was playing running back, Preston, and you was 6'2".
Right.
Like, you think like a running back is 6'2" nowadays in today's game. They would just get absolutely crunched.
Yeah, that gives you a lot more room to hit. Guys like
Sam Williams would love that.
Yeah. Nowadays, they're more like,
don't touch me.
Tell me somebody is about 220, 225, 230, 5'10", something like that.
Low center gravity.
One of the greatest Cowboy running backs was about like today's running backs, Emmitt Smith.
Yeah.
And he was only about 210, 215 at the most when he was playing, but he was shortish. Emmitt won't like that, but he was shortish. What was he, 5'10"?
I believe
it wasn't over 6 foot, I don't think.
Yeah, I believe he's 5'10". Yeah.
But Calvin Hill was maybe too big. Calvin was about 6'4". And Sam would love that too, guys. 6'4" as a running back. Get all that space to hit. They'd love that. These guys are good today. I mean, every position, both sides of the football, it's just a totally different game. Linebackers in our day were big ones were maybe 220, 230.
Yeah.
Sam, I'm sure you are classified as a defensive end, right?
Yes,
I don't know if you play some linebacker at some time. What's your weight?
In there.
Yeah, because you got that speed. You got that speed at your size. What do you weigh right now?
257.
See, that would have been considered as a huge linebacker back in our day at 255, 260.
And if you're playing in that era,
I guess nowadays. So everything's changed.
If you're playing linebacker in that era as well, you've got to have the neck roll.
No neck roll.
No, that's how they had to back then, no matter what.
Everybody had something back roll back in the day.
If I play linebacker, I need to be one of those linebackers that don't read anything, just
go
get the ball.
Go get the ball. Yeah.
I need to be one of those linebackers. Nothing else.
It's the Micah Parsons speech: see ball, get ball.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, gentlemen,
But I want to know what you've got against the neck roll, though, Sam.
I don't know. It's just I just never did no extra, like just natural. I just want the natural raw look.
Yeah.
I want to know what year just became unpopular. It's got to be the 80s, isn't it?
Say that again.
When they became unpopular, when people stopped using them.
I don't know. I think it was just the size and health of the players. They didn't have to worry about those things. Equipment's changed too. Everything's changed about the game. You were talking about Tyron earlier, Sam. When I first saw him, I had to do that. What was that just walked by me? I mean, what is he? 6'7", 6'8", and he's built like a nail.
Man,
he comes down from the shoulders all the way down, and I ain't talking about no gut either. I'm talking about a man that's 320, 340, something like that. Yeah. And ornery too. And those hands of his, it's like, whoa, where did those things come from? You're talking about big hands. Now, I got big hands. I got long fingers, big hands. But his, those are like big paddles, man. And once they got a hold of your ass.
I know, no letting go.
He's not letting go. Strong man, too. So the game's changed. No question about that. And in almost every area, including money. Big money.
Over to you,
Sam, get that money while you're a youngster. Get it now.
Trying to.
We will. We'll get it going here, guys. Thank you so much. Sam, you get back to your family. Preston, you've been on for a while, and thank you guys so much for the first one here. Really appreciate your time and
appreciate the opportunity to get on with you guys. Sam, good luck, my man. Good luck.
You. I appreciate it. Thank y'all. Y'all have a blessed evening.
Thanks
and you,
Sam. Stay well with the family down there, Sam. Keep pushing.
We'll see you Thanksgiving.
There you go.
Thanks so much, guys. All right.